Action. Hey, everybody. This is Morel. Welcome to Morel's Man Cave, where we keep the party going. Today's topic is simple, and a lot of people can relate to it. It's called growing up poor. Was it a good thing? I think growing up poor by far is the most awesome thing of all time. In the moment, it sucks. But look at it long term, it actually is not that bad. Why do I say this? Because you appreciate everything because you earned it. It's not you're relying on the government, relying on an auntie or uncle or your mom or your dad your whole entire life. No, if you become successful, you earned it, which is why it's so important to grow up poor. This is usually a scenario of you grew up rich or your family had money to whatever degree money may have been. You growing up under the circumstances that this is how life's supposed to be, not knowing you got to get out there and grind to go get it. So you used to just being a little lazy, relaxing a whole bunch more than you should be. And then at some point, the faucet gets turned off, and you're like, oh, snap, I don't know how to hunt because I've always had somebody hunt for me. That's the difference between growing up poor and growing up rich. There's so many of your childhood stars that's growing up right now. You see them on TV. They're hurting. They're on TV. They're crying. Like, damn, what's going on with them? They look like they had the time of their life in their youth. Well, they did have the time of their life in their youth, but guess what they wasn't doing? They wasn't fishing. All they know how to do is eat because they had a talent, which is awesome, but they don't know how to go and get it. So long term, it sounds good, but at some point, if you don't have the skills to go out there and fish, if you're not a carpenter and can always build projects, you're gonna lose every time. So this is why I said growing up poor is awesome. Now, here's some of the bad effects about growing up poor. So you grow up poor, depending on how poor you was, or P-O, how poor you was, you didn't have a lot of things. For some people, if you happen to live in the projects, which is a government building for low income people back in the day, depending on what state or city you live in, that's called the projects. It's for the lower class people with a lower income. You didn't make a lot of money. However, your rent was real low, which means you had more money than an average working family. With that being said, you might have had a bunch of Jordans. You might have had, I ain't saying all, you might have had more clothes than a average working family. So I call it the peacock effect. You might have been peacocking at a younger age, like you got it, but when you go home, you're going back home to the project, which is a lower income area provided by the government. So it's like, okay, I see Ralph, and Ralph got Jordans and all these kind of clothes, but he's poor. But you don't know he's poor because you may have not known where Ralph lives at. Ralph lives in the projects. So you don't even know that. But long term, Ralph potentially didn't apply himself. And now we're in our 30s and our 40s, and Ralph is still in the projects. Ralph is still in a lower income spot because Ralph didn't see the vision of I need to work hard to be a fisherman or a carpenter and work with my hands to whatever degree that might have been and actually earn some money. They want to scam the system, and the system always wins because it's exactly what it is. It's a scam. Hey, don't do this. We're going to give you this, and it's like, yeah, I'll take that deal, not knowing there's a time clock for that deal to run out. And right now in 2025, 2026, about to get the best time clock possible. Why do I say this? There's a policy out there that's in effect in some states, but not all, that's going to say you only have 2 years to be on government assistance. You only got 2 years to be on Section 8. For a lot of the Ralphs out there in the world, a lot of y'all are screwed because y'all don't know how to go out there and get it. You don't know how to go out there and fish. You don't know how to go out there and be a carpenter. You grew up poor. You grew up poor, and you had nicer things than people who were working. And people were working like, man, how are they getting ahead? Then they stop working, want to be just like you, not knowing the long-term play is if you keep on working, you're going to get better at your job. You're going to earn more money. So that's a disadvantage of being poor. Now that you're maybe a middle-class family, you're a middle-class family and you're earning money, congratulations, but your Christmases suck. Like, damn, I didn't really get a lump of coal for Christmas, but I didn't get nowhere near what Ralph got because Ralph lives in Section 8 government housing. So you're like, damn, we poor, not knowing how hard your mom and dad, if you had a mom and dad, actually worked to provide for you. Then as you get older, if you catching on to his work habits, you're like, damn, I might not have the Jordans or the clothes that Ralph may have, but I know how to go out here and get it. When I'm out here to go get it, I'm thinking the long-term play. The long-term play always wins. Or the other scenario is you can be rich in your youth and then you blow all the money, whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol, whether it be women. And here's another thing that a lot of people lose money over that a lot of people don't talk about out loud. A lot of people lose money in divorce. So you grew up maybe a Rockefeller, a Johnson, whatever Johnson that is, the good Johnsons, the rich Johnsons. You might have grew up a Wilson or a Parker, or pick a last name, and your father, mother, grandmother, grandfather, someone in the family had a whole bunch of money. They passed it down to your ass. Because you have bad spending habits, you blew it all. So you grew up in the five-star restaurants. You grew up in the people catering to you. You're going to Disney with the escorted tour, and you're just going from ride to ride. You're like, this is freaking awesome. Not knowing it's all an illusion because you grew up rich, not thinking about the long-term play. Can you flip that money? Can you sustain that money? Nah. Alcohol, drugs, women, divorce, all that money's gone, and now you are poor. You can't survive by being poor because you never lived it before. You never had to eat ramen noodles all the time. You never had to eat a mayonnaise sandwich. You never had to eat just bread. You never had to eat cereal. I'm not gonna say with a fork. That's on a whole nother level. What I'm saying is you never was poor. You never took a bath with your brothers and sisters in the same tub because you couldn't really run the water like you really wanted to run the water. There's so many levels to being poor, but I'm showing you as a rich person, they can't survive off of the bare minimums. I promise you this, if I were to ever lose it all, which would never happen, I make sure I have a backup plan to the backup plan to the backup plan. I can survive being poor again. I can eat some mayonnaise sandwiches with this cheese on it. I can eat the ramen noodles, and they are disgusting to me. I have my fair share of them. If there's one thing that I hate liver cheese. Do they even sell that anymore? Do they sell liver cheese in the store anymore? That's actually a good question. Liver cheese, ramen noodles. What's it to eat as a kid? Oh, potted meats. Oh my God, I can't stand potted meat. We start making some money. You just said some things I'm never going to eat again. Potted meat, liver cheese, ramen noodles. I'm done with it. That's growing up having money to going poor. But if you're in the middle and you're in the middle your whole entire life, believe it or not, you're actually successful. Don't let women, men, family, friends say otherwise. Oh, you need to be like us. This is say this person is middle class making hypothetically $80,000 a year. You're going to hear your family members, your friends say things like, hey, Tony, Robin, Megan, Maria, Jennifer, whatever the male of it's relevant to genders. The gender is they're making money. The family and friends are going to be like, hey, give us some money. And you got to say to use the most powerful word in the English dictionary, no. The more you say no, the more you deter more people from getting into your pockets. They deter from getting to your pockets, you'll never be poor. Really break that down, Morel. I didn't understand. Okay. You grew up poor. And for some reason, due to your discipline, due to your excellence and your skill that you chose to do, you started making some money. Congratulations. Now that you done made some money, everybody's pulling at you like, hey, give me some of that money because we're family. You owe me. Remember that one time I changed your diaper when you were 2 years old? I'm 45 years old right now. No. When you was 2 years old, I changed your diaper, you owe me money. What does that make? Why is everybody pulling money from you? The more money you give, the less you're going to have. The less you have, the more you're going to be poor. You grow up poor, your family and friends are making you poor, so why are you making money? So you don't be poor. That's what you got to do. You got to stop saying no. Growing up poor is so many levels to it. Another level to it is you really, I said it before, you really appreciate everything. But here's the bad thing about being poor, though. When you finally get it, some of you guys go crazy with it. I'll give you an example. As you can tell, I used to be in the military. Retired 22 years. I was a Master Sergeant E8. I did very well in the military. With that being said, though, I'm being deployed in whatever country is irrelevant. And once you deploy and say you're in a combat area, there is a re-enlistment bonus to do 4 more years or 5 more years in the military. They give you a bonus amount of money, and it's 100% tax-free. I've seen people get $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 checks, and guess what they do with it? I'll wait. Let's take a guess what they did with the money. They bought a new car. They bought a depreciating asset. That car gets in a wreck tomorrow. They just lost $30,000 just like that. Yes, they might have gap insurance and so forth. So on. It's one of the worst investments you can do with a lump sum of money. But they did it though. Why? Because they grew up poor. They finally got their first bit of money and they just blew it on the car. And in the car, after about another year, then a new car came out. And then another new car came out. I want that car. I want that car. But guess what? All that $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 is into a car. Now, they didn't got this bonus of $30,000, $40,000, $50,000. I'm hungry. Let me go to Burger King and get some money. Oh, guess what? You ain't got no money because you put all your money into that damn car. If America has a huge problem, we have a spending problem. It's not an earning problem. We have a spending problem. How many of y'all have $10,000 or more in credit card debt? You ain't got to raise your hand. It's cool. You probably at home or at work watching me on YouTube right now. How many of y'all got 5,000 or more in credit card debt? Raise your hand. Matter of fact, just blink a whole bunch. Just blink. Here's another important question. How many of y'all owe over 50,000 in student loans? I get it. You got to take out student loans to make the money. I get it. However, how fast are you paying it back? That's why, in my opinion, I think one of the best options in the world is the military. You ain't going to have to pay for no college. A couple years of your service, come out debt-free. You're 22 to 24 years old. You better rock and roll. The whole point of this video is just to talk about growing up poor and is it a good thing to grow up poor? In my opinion, I think growing up poor is beyond the best thing possible because when you do become successful, and I'm speaking not positively, I'm speaking on what it is. Most kids are going to earn more money than their parents. Not all, but most kids are going to earn more money than their parents in the future. So if you grow up poor, you're going to have a nice bucket of money, but guess what you're going to do? You're going to blow it on some bull crap. I get you between 18 and 25 years old, you can make all the mistakes in the world. Now you're 25 to 35, it's time to buy a house. It's time to potentially work on getting toward the family. How can you do that if you have a bad credit score? Growing up rich, it sounds good. It's good for the Instagram. You put your phone out. Oh my God, I'm doing it for the gram. I done been to Turk and Caicos. I done been to Bali. I done been to Dominican Republic, Jamaica. Okay, how many boyfriends you done had during that time? Let's talk about that. Because you didn't pay for those trips. I can guarantee you the man who's been to all 4 of those different countries within a 1-year time span, 2-year time span, they probably scamming between 18 and 25 years old. Is there something that can do it? Absolutely. What I'm saying is on average, like 100 people, most men can't provide that kind of lifestyle for a woman or even for themselves. They're working. You start making your money as a man in your late 30s, early 40s. That's when you start making your money. Between 18 and 35, you're damn near useless to society. For most people, the key word is most. You're not making that money. But what happens when you start making that money later on in life? Because you grew up poor, you start appreciating everything. Like, damn, I never thought in my whole life I can buy a house. I got a house. I never thought I can have a wife who's submissive and very feminine and have 2 to 3 kids that loves me like no tomorrow. Growing up and seeing that, I never had that vision. But guess what? When you was poor, some of y'all had some big vision dreams. For example, Master P grew up poor. He said he slept on the floor for many years with multiple cousins and brothers in his grandmother's house. Unfortunately, a family member died, gave him $10,000. He flipped it and went on to be super successful. What I'm saying is, a lot of people grow up poor and they stay poor. What I'm saying is, a lot of people grow up poor and they start to get it and they appreciate everything. But you can't be born into a silver spoon at all times. And a lot of people born with silver spoons, they some freaking buttholes. This is called a spade a spade. You can tell, you go to a restaurant and you're real nice to the servers, whether it be a male or female. Hey, how you doing? Thank you for serving me so forth. There ain't no attitudes involved because you grew up with nothing. Just because you got a couple of dollars, you got people like an asshole. When did we start doing that? I got money now. I'm over people now. I'm a boss. No, what you are is an asshole. Just be humble. You get way more by being humble than you do by being braggadocious. I'm super humble because, first of all, I'm not rich. First of all, I'm just an average guy. I'm on YouTube talking that talk right now, and I'm just y'all watching. So I'm doing my part. But when you turn this YouTube video off, do you remember those mayonnaise sandwiches? Do you remember that ramen noodles, that potted meat? Do you remember that? And what you're eating right now? If you're eating steak and lobster, good on you. What can you pass down to your kids to make sure they're not going backwards and they're going forward in life? With that being said, like, comment, subscribe to the video. And with that being said, keep the party going.